You're watching Korra, Making of a Legend. Now, let's hear from the creators of this epic series.
Yeah, and I love the dynamic once you find out that Beifong and Tenzin kind of had this relationship back in the day, that now you kind of see them in a whole new light.
Yeah, and I like that it's this idea that Lin Beifong and Tenzin, they're the next generation after our old, beloved characters from the first series. It stands to reason they would have grown up around each other. They would have seen each other pretty frequently.
It would be nice if we could help each other out, at least for one night.
Like old times?
They had these big, famous, important parents, and there was a lot of expected of them, so you can imagine that they would kind of relate to each other, sort of like kids of famous people or something. But, there's a lot of pressure, and didn't all work out.
You're watching Korra, Making of a Legend on Nicktoons. You're watching Korra, Making of a Legend. Now, let's hear from the creators of this epic series.
I love the set piece, the action set piece in this act, where they're up on this wrought iron, Industrial Revolution era dome on glass, and it's such a cool, crazy sequence, and I knew the lighting would be really neat, too. They're cracking the glass as they're fighting, and Joaquin, once again, did an amazing job directing the action.
This episode, we see another little hint that Korra's having these visions, and she's not sure what they are exactly. She sees images of what appear to be characters we might recognize, some we don't recognize. She hasn't figured out what this means yet.
Yeah, I remember when we were developing Korra, we said she was going to be more the physical tomboy, and she wasn't going to be very spiritually developed. It was a lot of fun talking about how we were going to deal with that connection in a totally different way than we had before.
You're watching Korra, Making of a Legend on Nicktoons. You're watching Korra, Making of a Legend. Now, let's hear from the creators of this epic series.
Things are getting a little more serious after our lighter romantic episode. We're at the big pro-bending championship final. The Fire Ferrets are in the finals facing the Wolf Bats. Really great villain named Tano. Kind of creepy and weird and just, it's not your typical villain who's a fun guy to write.
Like you said, it's starting to get more serious. Korra, she loves pro-bending, but she's neglecting this bigger threat, which is, Amon and the Equalists, and he warns the city, if you go on with this event, there's going to be dire consequences. So we see that this Equalist threat is not to be ignored.
This is a great episode, too, for seeing more Beifong in it.
You don't need to babysit me.
It's for Korra.
We get to see more of her kind of contentious dynamic with Korra, and then we learn a little surprising backstory about her.
Yeah, and then maybe she and Korra are kind of similar.
You're watching Korra, Making of a Legend on Nicktoons.